There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We won't argue.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round one of the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 Series. My name's John Van Ree, and with me tonight I've got Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Good, thank you, John. Looking forward to a new season, a lot of new drivers, some quality field, so yeah, it should be a good night.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward to it. I think we're in for an absolute cracker tonight. This Donnington layout that we're using, which is the Grand Prix circuit, and it just comes with some great racing. We start off on the Wheatcroft Straight, come down in the Red Gates. It's probably one of the toughest corners on the track to get right and really sort of sets you up for the Craner curves as we come down the hill into the old hairpin. Then after the old hairpin, we head under Starkey's Bridge, up through Turn 6 and into McLaren's. Another corner you've got to get absolutely cracking right. And then we come up into Coppice and then down the Starkey Straight where we go through the S's. Another one where you've got to get your braking right and get your acceleration out well. Down into the Melbourne hairpin, through Goddard's and back to the start-finish line. Not an easy track, Mark.
Definitely not an easy track. A lot of fun to drive, but bit of undulation, a lot of tight corners, a lot of flowing corners. So yeah, it's got a little bit of everything, and it is, yeah, it's a lot of fun to drive this track, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these boys at the front of the pack really turn it on.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're going to be in for some cracking racing tonight. Of course, it's the 250k format we're running. Boys have got to have 2 compulsory pit stops, and they've been set with a fuel window where they should be able to get home on 1 stop. So it'll be interesting to see how these boys play around with their fuel strategies and their stop strategies as well. So it's going to be really exciting to see.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see the good fuel savers come to the fore and get home on 1 stop, and the guys who can't quite get that right are really going to punish themselves.
Absolutely, that is the case. And of course we've got Sebastian Murray-Westberg in as Chief Race Control tonight with Richard Barella in Split 1. So it's good to have Sebastian back for his second season with the series. And some of the other big things to look at here, we might actually take some time and slowly go through the grid, which it has been an epic battle. And as you can see, the man who's got the fastest time on the track at the moment, well, the record for this track in iRacing officials is James Scott with a 1:26.330. And if we have a look at the qualifying times, have a look who's on pole. James Scott with a 1:26.474. It's a cracking pace, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't seen James round for a long time, so looking forward to seeing him battle it out at the front of the pack and just see how sharp he is in race mode. So yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Of course, we've got on the front row with him Dylan O'Shea from Simrig DPR. Blake Warboys in third. A great effort from the WK&P driver there. Adam Briggs in fourth. So another one of the Synergy Sim races. Synergy boys have definitely jumped on board the East Coast Series with a lot of entries and a lot of fast drivers as well. So back in fifth, we've got Jordan Ross with a 1:26.7, Brenton Hobson with a 1:26.714, Tom Freya with a 1:26.779, Damien Johnstone with a 1:26.798. So you can see the consistency of the Synergy boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Really consistent. I'm glad they're not over 40.
Yes, we'll get down to the few of the vets boys in a second. We've got Hayden Harrison in ninth from Send It Sim Sports. So Hayden Harrison, everyone remember, was Taipan Esports last season. He's back this season with new team, new livery, and be interesting to see how he goes. And he's sharing the row with Blake Delaney from Fishy, so good to have Blake back. James Chastanoof with a 127.065 in 11th, and James racing for a new team as well, the Banter Alliance. So one of the worst kept secrets in iRacing, particularly in the vets area, has been the fact that PRA and Emu Sim Sports have basically been running as the same team for however long, and they've finally decided to put a name on it and calling themselves BAR.
Yeah, good bunch of guys, great team, a lot of fun to race with, and they've held hands for a long time, so glad to see they finally walked down the aisle.
Yes. Hopefully they didn't have any horses so that Baldock didn't fall off. We move on to number 12th place. We've got Jackson Susan Harlow returning for this season. Jackson, of course, one of the quick guys in our Imola race for the season finale. And another vets driver sitting in 13th. We have Christian Smart, which I reckon is a great performance from Christian to be up the grid this far. And Andrew Dyson from Simrig DPR in 14th. Kenneth Ladder in 15th. We have Kenneth Ladder from Synergy Sim Racing. Zach Scare from Pursuit Sim Racing, another one of the new drivers and new teams that's come into the series this season. And leading in after Zach, we have Michael Taliancic from Pursuit Sim Racing as well. And then Cameron Veacock from Synergy. Hayden Sell from Pursuit. Bradley Baldwin from High Octane. Great drive there from Brady, I think, to be sitting in 20th. I think he'd be very happy with that. Chris Island in 21st from Send It Sim Sports. Ash Barella in 22nd. A great performance there from Ash. I think he'd be quite happy to be that far up the grid. And then we come into another one of our new teams, Mark. We've got Simon Chadwick from 9.5 Sim Sport.
Yeah, I know a few of the boys from 9.5 Sim Sport. They're a great bunch of guys. I'm not sure if Sean McNamara's running tonight, but Simon's a great guy. I've done a fair bit of racing with Simon a year or two ago. So yeah, looking forward to these boys. They're good, solid racers.
Absolutely, and Sean has registered for the series. He's not with us tonight, but looking forward for Sean getting out on track, and I know he's a fierce competitor from a few of the battles we've seen him with Black War Boys in the past, so really looking forward to seeing whether they can contest that battle again. And moving on, we speak of the Vets Masters, another one with a very good performance, Jamie McKnight, the People's Champion from Synergy Sim Racing, sitting in 24th. And then in 25th, we have another new team, Century Motorsports, with Cameron G. Jones.
Yeah, I know Cameron as well. I haven't raced with him for a long time, but he's another fierce competitor, and on his day, he is super, super quick. He doesn't mind racing rough and hard, and yeah, looking forward to Cam doing a good job out here tonight.
Absolutely. And then in 26th, we've got David Kirby from Fishy Motorsports. Hayden Norris from Riot Sim Racing. That's another new team we've got signed up for this season. Craig Schultz from 9.5 in 28th. 29th, we've got Alan Dawson from Riot. Michael Angus from Fishy in 30th. Ben Morris from 9.5 in 31st. Jared Bailey in Split 1. He's done very well to be sitting in 32nd. Josh Drage in 33rd from WK&P. Bruce Tannick from Mag and Turbo Motorsport in 34. 35th is Matthew Scholes from Riot Sim Racing. Michael Whiting in 36th from Fishy. Troy Maguire from Fishy in 37th. 38th is another one of the boys from Riot Sim Sports in David Nash. We've got Ash Davies from 9.5 and 39. Damien Cairns from Taipan Esports in 40th. Andrew Ritchie from BAR in 41. With Darren Shannon alongside him, his teammate. Matt Stewart from Vast Motorsports in 43rd. 44th is Nicholas Loveridge from Backmaker Racing. Brad Doble from Bogans Racing, another one of the new sign-ups for this season. 46th is Sam Noble from 9.5 Sim Sports. 47th is a man we know very well from Vets, Stephen Varga. So great to see Stephen moving across into the East Coast League. Looking forward to seeing what Vargas can do. And in 48th, we've got Warren Davis And Matt Whitaker in 49th, and rounding out our 50 for this race is Paul Burns. 50 is a lot of cars, Mark.
It's a lot of cars, especially around this track. It's a lot of cars on any track, but it's going to be nose to tail racing here. And I just want to say to the boys that have taken over East Coast, like they have done an absolutely enormous job to get this up and running, and to have 2 splits running and to have a quality field like we have in split 1. It's an amazing job.
It's been a fair effort from the boys. Really good work from Josh and Ash and the team that he's got in the background, or they've got in the background. Big shout out to the viewers we've got following along at home as well, and to Lee. Yeah, we can still join the series, mate. Just jump on our Facebook page, send us your details, and let us know. And we'll organise a link for you to sign up to. And good to see Will Wilson out again. And a big shout out to Tracy Warboys as well. And of course, Ben Anthony, the godfather of the league. So good to see Ben's out watching as well, supporting his Taipan Esports boys. As I'll just quickly scroll through the grid that I read out a second ago. So definitely shaping up to be a cracking race, this one. Looking very much forward to it as the boys start to grid up. And I believe we'll be going for a 3-minute grid tonight. And a big shout out to Sean McNamara as well, who's jumped on the chat. So supporting his boys that have done quite well. And of course, she will be a little bit of a battle for myself tonight, because we're going to have a lot of new names, and I'll try and hopefully pronounce everyone's name correctly. And it looks like we only got 47 of the 50 guys turned up. Richard Barella there at the back of the grid as our safety car driver. And Mark, starting at this track is something that is not easy in itself. And I'd have to say, if you're starting in that back half around that hairpin, you're in for a tough one.
Yeah, well, we did the vets race here last week, and I did a couple of AI races and started from the back, and it is no fun whatsoever if you're on the edge of that hairpin. Or the last corner. It's very difficult to get a good start.
Absolutely. And I notice we've got a few boys still to grid up. Yep, here's James Scott, our pole man. Big shout out to Peter Keller as well. Go SSR. So, yep, definitely know Pete well. I've spent plenty of time racing with Pete this season in vets. So good to see Pete on supporting his teammates.
Well, you'd have to say SSR have got a good spread in the field, so you would expect they're going to be in with a shot for the win. So I'm really excited to get this one underway with all the new names we've got.
Absolutely. And we're probably about 15 seconds away from going green here. So we'll see how we go calling the action. And we should be about to go anytime soon. And we are green flag racing. We are away. A couple of guys, look at, they've stalled at the back. Not sure who that was. We've got an accident deep down there. But we'll keep the eyes on the front here as James Scott leads into the first corner with Blake Warboys. Under pressure from Dylan Shea Wide. Looks like it was Hayden Norris for those looking for that accident. As we come down, a little bit of rubbing there. Dylan O'Shea works his way past Warboys. And James Scott already off to a nice handy lead here as we come down through the old hairpin. And we've got a reasonable start. This is quite good stuff.
Yeah, James Scott's really busted off the line nicely, and Dylan O'Shea's got a good start as well. Not sure who went into the air at the start. It could have been Cameron Veacock.
I might just try and see. I'm surprised we haven't had a safety car called. I wouldn't be surprised if we got one. Hayden Sell was the incident that came up. We might just jump to the Supercheap Auto replay real quick here and have a quick look at, see if we can see what happened back there. So Hayden stalled and he got collected, and not sure who was behind him after that. As we'll go back to, one of the right boys are in there. So, not sure. And I haven't heard if we've had a safety car, so we'll just keep rolling in.
Safety car is on track, John.
It is? Okay, we'll go back and we might just see if we can have another look at that start from a different view here. We might just go into the blimp and just see. That's a very second-hand looking car sitting there. Can't sort of see what happened to Cam Veacock.
No, I don't think it was Cam. I think, like you said, it was Hayden Sell that stalled.
Might just go to a different camera here and just see the view. It's a long way back around the hairpin, as we were saying. So, still not sure who was in the air we saw, but definitely not a great start. Not a great start at all, as we'll go back to live pictures.
Yeah, you got cleaned up twice, and when you're solid on the grid, you're at the mercy of everybody being able to know that you're stalled, and that's not always the case. So it's bad luck for them boys.
Absolutely. So, poor old Hayden. Norris didn't make the first corner. So Hayden Norris obviously stalled with a blown engine coming down into the corner. And Hayden Sell already back into the pits. So not sure exactly, but not a great start for everybody. But the safety car's out there now. Of course, it's the new look Supercheap auto safety car that we've got this season. And Richie having a bit of a midlife crisis, wanted something that looked a bit more sporty. Apparently the yellow was too safe for him.
Well, it does look good out there on track. I'm sure the boys racing would prefer not to see it, but it looks very, very nice. Good livery. And yeah, it's a shame. You always worry about that mid-pack because you're at the mercy of the gods back there. The boys at the front got good starts, but unfortunately when someone stalls on the grid, it's not a good thing to come across.
And of course, one of the things that we probably don't talk a lot about with this series is there is no aids for the driver. So there's no things like an auto clutch or auto start or those sorts of things. So these guys really have to be in their A game in terms of how they operate their rig. And it can lead to guys stalling on the start line.
Yeah, absolutely. I've made the mistake where I've sat on the grid and turned the car off trying to save fuel, and then daydreamed and then gone to start, and all of a sudden I realised I haven't even got the engine turned on. So you've got to be on top of your game the whole time.
Absolutely. And a big shout out too to Sean Rigby watching us from his hospital bed. Sean's supposed to be in the field tonight, but had a rush out this morning. So let's have a quick look to see if there are any big movers out of that incident. So one of the big movers we've got is Simon Chadwick up 12 spots. So that's not a bad start from the 9.5 Sim Sports driver. You'd have to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, unfortunately I think I heard Race Control say that Simon was going to be black flag, so I'm not sure if he made too many spots up under the safety car, but I'm sure I heard Race Control issue a black flag for him once the safety car comes in, which is a shame.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, that one.
In this lap.
So safety car's coming in this lap.
Safety car drive away from the pack. Car 088, please maintain 80 kilometres an hour. 088, maintain 80 kilometres an hour.
So there you go, you've heard it from Race Control. The safety car's pulling away. So Richie Barella down in the hairpin. So this is going to be a really good one too to start on once he has control. James Scott, our race leader, would probably be waiting until after the start of the hairpin to accelerate away. Richie Barella's in the pits. So safety car, and we are green flag racing.
Good jump by James. It's hard to get a big jump on everybody here with the way the pit entry, safety car exit, everything comes about, but he's got a good jump, and Dylan O'Shea's going with him, just like we saw at the start of the race.
Absolutely. Very good. Good driving from Dylan. Dylan's showing some good pace here. And also, just got word from race control that Jackson Susan Harlow missed the start due to a power failure. So it's a bit disappointing for Jackson, one of our movers and shakers in our last race of the last season, as the boys come down into the Melbourne hairpin for the lap 4, but for the first time in anger. And Dylan definitely keeping the pressure on.
Yeah, Dylan doing a great job, as is Blake Warby's in third place at the moment. He's got Brenton Hobson behind him, and Blake driving really well, putting the car in all the right spots.
So Hobson definitely keeping the pressure on behind.
James lost none of his speed, driving very, very well and very quickly.
And Jordan Ross here trying to put the moves on Blake Delaney. Looks like a nice little battle pack forming back here around 8 and 9. As you can see, Simon Chadwick looking a bit racy in the background. Definitely quite a few battles with 50 cars. It's very hard to have a look around and see where everyone is, to be honest.
Yeah, Jordan Ross, he's down 3 spots, so I'm sure he's doing his utmost to rectify that.
Of course, up front, Dylan O'Shea is still within 0.4 of a second of James Scott, which is a cracking performance, really. There we go, drive-through penalty for car 063 for contact with 911. So 63 is Troy Maguire, back in 30th, with contact on David Nash. We might just have a bit look back. Andrew Dyson's battling away with Simon Chadwick as well. These guys are having a cracking battle back here. So the field's still...
It's tightly packed, but it's a very, very long snake.
Definitely using all the curb and more as they come through the chicane.
Yeah, very tough track to pass on. You really need the driver in front to be compromised with a bad exit or something, so you can get close enough to make a move around here. And it produces a fair bit of frustration, this track.
just getting the drive out of some of those corners, like coming out of the hairpin, you've just got to get it absolutely perfect. Otherwise,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You get lots of looks. You can stick your nose up in lots of places, but it's very, very hard to finalise it.
Well, you really got to pressure the guy in front to make the mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, like these guys are such good drivers. Like it's rare that they make that big mistake. So when the opportunity rises, you really got to be there, ready to pounce.
And might just come back a little bit further, have a look at Kenny Ladder. Kenny Ladder in a battle here with James Chastaneef and Michael Taliancic. So doing quite well, James. Is holding on to 12th spot, hanging on to the back of Simon Chadwick in front of him.
Yeah, unfortunately Simon's just been issued a drive through, so which is a shame.
That's a bugger. And Chadwick's in doing that now. And might just look a bit further down the back. Some of our new faces. Michael Scholes from Right Sim Racing. Good little battle going on behind him there with Chris Island. And James Scott and Dylan O'Shea have now moved out to a second and a 2-second gap respectively. So Chris Island definitely looking like he's trying to make some moves here.
Yeah, like I said, you get lots of looks here, but it's hard to complete the pass. So just got to keep chipping away, put that pressure on, and hopefully the door opens for you.
Definitely a bit racy behind him there with Michael Angus and Chris Island having a cracking battle, those two. And it looks like we've got Ben Morris from 9.5 trying to get into that battle as well. So we might just jump back up the front and have a look at how James Scott's getting on, our race leader. James is now out to a lovely 1 second gap from Dylan O'Shea behind, followed by Blake Warboys in third. So these boys have all cleared out a little bit now. Warboys, though, he's 2 seconds down the road from O'Shea and under a little bit of pressure still from Brenton Hobson. And Tom Freer has done very well to move up 2 spots as well. So Adam Briggs at the moment is probably the big loser, and Jordan Ross out of our top 10, both dropping back 3 spots. So, of course, while we sit on with Blake, we might actually do a lap of Donnington so everyone can have a look at how the circuit goes together and how difficult it is to drive.
Yeah, one thing we've got to remember, if the boys are trying to get away with one pit stop, that they're going to be fuel saving.
Which will be the battle. Looking very calm. It's really just out for a Sunday drive, Mark.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's not doing anything but looking ahead, and he's under a lot of pressure, but you wouldn't know it from looking at that cam.
No, absolutely. We might just jump back. Bruce Tannick and Paul Burns had an incident. We might just go to the Supercheap Auto replay and just have a look at what happened with these two. Coming down into the Melbourne hairpin. It's coming together. Quite easy to do down there. Might just quickly have a quick look. Michael Whiting's now up 13 spots. Great drive from the Fishy Motorsport veteran. Always chipping away. Picking up spots as he's moved up into 21st. Some of our other big moves is Matthew Scholes from Right Sim Racing. Matthew having a pretty good drive tonight. Up into 23rd. Sam Noble's up 10 spots. Great drive from Sam Noble. Another one of the new drivers from 9.5 as Damien Cairns does a bit of rallycross in the foreground there. And yeah, so those boys have been doing quite well. Some of the biggest losers so far is Hayden Harrison. He's down 16 spots in 25th, so I'm not sure exactly what's happened to Hayden there. And you'll like this one. Jamie McKnight, the wily old fox that he is up 8 spots into 15th. So that's a great drive from Jamie.
Yeah, excellent drive from Jamie, and he's one person I know who knows how to fuel save, so he'll be doing everything he can to get away with one stop.
And running a white livery tonight, which I must say does look very striking. And under a lot of pressure here from Cameron Jones behind and Cam Veacock in front of him there. So I know Jamie would be giving Cam the hurry up.
Yeah, both these boys fierce competitors on the same team, but as you can see, there's no team orders. It's race as hard as you can.
Oh, I did ask that question. I did have a sit-down talk with Jordan Ross before the start of the series, and the question was asked about team orders, and there are no team orders, which is good to know. These boys are allowed to race and race hard. Couldn't ask for anything less than that.
Just noticing James Chastanet was given a drive-through penalty as well, which is unusual for James. He's usually a very, very clean racer.
I didn't see anything, didn't hear of anything. I'll just quickly do some research. I'm not sure what's happened to Chasty there. I'm sure if any boys from BRA are on the chat, they might jump on and let us know what happened. And if you are on the chat, feel free to get involved. Let us know who you're supporting, and yeah, we'll try and let you know how they're all going. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to like our broadcast.
James Scott really kind of just opened up that margin now, and he's doesn't even have to look in his mirror anymore. He's got a pretty clear track in front and behind. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes with his fuel strategy. He's clearly going flat out by the look of it, so I'm not sure if he's planning on 1 or 2 stops.
I think it's compulsory 2, but there's enough fuel to do 1.
Okay.
Yeah, so the boys definitely trying to make everyone keep alive and thinking what's going on. And just sitting here, I've just noticed Warboys has dropped back 4 spots, so I'm not sure what happened to Blake. But I know that they were fiercely competing behind him, as we wouldn't be too far away now. I think probably about 4 laps away from our first pit stops. And David Kirby has been involved in an incident. I might just have a look what's going on the Supercheap Auto replay. We'll see what happened to David. And looks like he's tried the move and he's just cooked it and gone off by the looks, going into the final hairpin. And we might just have a quick look a bit further down the pack. Well, we've got a few minutes. Matt Stewart, another one of the new drivers from Vast Motorsport racing tonight. Another one of the new teams in our series. And he's up 4 spots. Looks like he's having a cracking drive, running down Brad Doble in front. And he's got Damien Cairns battling behind him. So, of course, Brad Doble from another one of the new teams from Bogan Motorsport. Looks like a great little move here going down into Melbourne. Getting the job done.
That's a real V8 supercar team name, that one.
Absolutely. And we're still side by side. These boys having an epic battle here.
Yeah, there's some great racing right throughout the field, and I was just watching Blake before, and he was just in a SSR maul. He just was in a scrum on his own against five SSR cars, and it's not surprising that they roughed him up possibly, and quite a few of them got past him.
Yeah, that was his big worry. I did see after qualifying on the WK&P chat the big word help. I'm in a SSR sandwich.
Yeah, I'm sure there was nothing untoward that happened, but it would have just been some very fierce battling, and when you're on your own like that against 5 or 6 cars, it's very difficult to defend lap after lap.
Oh, absolutely. We might just jump on Blake. Blake still battling it out here as Jordan Ross has now worked his way past. And we move a bit further up. Damien Johnston's keeping the pressure on Hobbo as well. And Adam Briggs sitting behind. And we might just try something. We just try a little ad from our sponsor.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
You won't argue.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Of course, big thank you to Supercheap Auto for supporting the series this season. And definitely a great having them come on board. And we do, Mark, I'm sure the boys have spoken to you, but we do have to pick the driver of the round and let Seb know by the end of the night.
Okay, that puts some pressure on me to make sure I know what's going on, I guess. Absolutely fantastic to have Supercheap on board. Great sponsors. They've given the boys some prizes, I think, for the winner of the series and the other podium getters in the series. So absolutely fantastic to have them on board, and they're they're a big contributor to Australian motorsport, and good to see them getting involved with the sim racing scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Very appreciative. And we just having a look back there, we just saw, we said tongue tied here, I think we just had Hayden Harrison slide off, come back on, getting a little bit hot going down into Melbourne hairpin. And Matt Scholl's still doing reasonably well. And our hard charger at the moment, up 15 spots, is Michael Whiting from Fishy. So Michael doing very well. And the next guy in that list is Nicholas Loveridge. We haven't given Nicholas a shout out tonight yet, so good to see Nicholas back from backmarker racing.
Yeah, Nicholas doing a great job, and also Cameron Jones, new driver to the series. Raced a bit with Cameron over years, not for a while, but he's a great driver. Fierce competitor, very aggressive driver, but very quick as well, and he's up 11 spots.
Yeah, it's great to see Century Motorsports getting involved this season. So I think we've got 4 or 5 cars across the T-splits from Century. But yeah, Cameron Vell has been a very fierce driver for a fair while. Drives hard, takes no prisoners.
Absolutely, hard racer, and on his day is as quick as anybody. If he's got the car in the window, he's a very quick driver.
Chastity now coming back at Chris Island. But the real battle still, if we go back up the front, so we've got James Scott, who's definitely cleared out here. So James is now has a good lead of 4 seconds from Dylan O'Shea. So James showing he hasn't lost any pace in his absence over the last few months.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing an epic job out front. He's good 2 to 3 tenths quicker than Dylan per lap at the moment. So he's just stretching that lead out as each lap counts down.
Absolutely. And we might just have a quick look here at their best lap times so far. I'll bring that up there. So you can see James Scott's fastest lap's been a 1:27.262. Dylan O'Shea a 1:27.291. The man who's really flying there a little bit further back, Adam Briggs, has set some good times. So quite a few boys in that 1:27. War Boys with a 1:27.4. We're dropping back off that, and we'll just have a look at their last laps just to get a bit of a picture. And you can sort of see they're all lapping around the 1:28 to 1:28.7. So yeah, James definitely starting to pull away. Just going to quickly jump to the Supercheap Auto replay. Michael Whiting, who was our hard charge, has had an incident. So looks like he's just got it a little bit loose here, coming out onto the straight, keeps it off the wall, keeps it off everybody else. I think he should be right there to get that one going again. So Dylan O'Shea doing quite well. Then we go back. We've got, I guess we've just got to call it the SSR train of Tom Freer, Hobson, Johnson, Briggs, Ross. As we see, there's a drive-through penalty for car 43 for contact on 96. So just try and give you roughly where that might have been. 96 was Hayden Harrison. 43 was Ben Morris. So Ben Morris with a drive-through penalty there. We might just look for there's another battle a little bit further back in the pack. Just see how we're getting on. Stephen Varga's working his way back up here as he puts a move on Sam Noble. Sorry, Matt Stewart, sorry. Sam Noble's the next car up in front for him. So Varg's another one who's very good at fuel saving. As we see one of our first drivers head into the pits, being Ben Morris. That would be for the drive-through.
Yeah, I noticed Michael Whiting took a pit stop after he had that incident near the pit entry. So Michael's just sitting behind Dylan O'Shea at the moment. So he's a lap down on the leaders, but he'll get that back when they pit.
He's definitely starting to spread out a little bit, but we've still got some pretty good battle packs forming, which will try and give you some action from across the whole field. As Jordan Ross and Andrew Dyson have pitted. So we've got them two coming on pit lane, so that's showing their cards a little bit. And Synergy splitting their strategy, which is good to see. And Christian Smart still plodding away. And Vargas has gone off track, so we might just have a look what happened to Stephen Varga there. I'm not sure what happened. We'll go to the Supercheap Auto replay. Side by side. Oh, that's not good. Through the chicane. So, leave that one up to race control, I think. And Hobbo, Brenton Hobson. Still under a little bit of pressure from his teammate Damien Johnson behind. Warboy's starting to catch back up to this pack a little bit.
Good to see Damien come back to the series, and he's really kind of just come straight back to where he left off. He's really driving well. He seems to be really enjoying his racing again, so it's good to see him back in the series and back up the front.
Absolutely. So a few more boys in the pits, this time Briggs and Warboys. And so a few boys just dropped back. Troy Maguire coming back through the pack a little bit after an earlier incident. So Troy's up 9 spots. So I think Troy with an earlier drive-through, doing reasonably well. Maybe I got that wrong, sorry. Andrew Ritchie sitting behind him there. Andrew's ducking in, going up as though someone's ducked into the pits. So a few moves and shakers happening. Back to Andrew Ritchie. Warboy's back out on track after the pit stop in 24th. So it's tough track, like we said before, to overtake on. Tough track to deal with traffic as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, you make a pit stop, and if you're not in clear air, you can really lose chunks of time. So really careful. You've got to be careful the way you plan your strategy, and really kind of work out where you're going to come back out on track.
Of course, Blake getting past Andrew Ritchie there. Of course, Andrew, another wily old driver, would know it's smarter to let him pass and try and fight and hold him up.
Yeah, you got to know who you're racing in this sim world. Otherwise, you can end up ruining your race and somebody else's race. So you've got to be aware of where you're racing, who you're racing against, and what race you're in.
Absolutely. And as you can see, very tricky pit exit here too at Donnington.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a horrendous pit exit, and with a field as big as this, you know you're going to encounter somebody when you come out of that pit lane.
Absolutely. So let's just try and have a bit of a look at some of these pit strategies here. As most of the field have stopped, and we might just have a look at their pit stop times in the bracket there. We're not really getting many of those yet. So Ireland was in for the earlier. Briggs has gone for 24.3 seconds, so he's put a little bit more fuel on than Dyson. And Ross put more fuel on again. And Warboys has put 28.6, so Warboys has gone more fuel again based off that stop. So these last stops, I think, are going to be very quick and fast for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. James Scott's still the quickest man on track, even though his tyres are 24 laps old. So he's really in the box seat at the moment. Blake's done a good job to get his first pit stop out of the way. Jamie McKnight, the great fuel saver I know he is, he's still on no stops as well, so he's up quite a bit at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Jamie in the Commodore tonight. Normally we see him in the Mustang. Bit of a lock up in front of him there. And Jamie ducks off into the pit lane. And Brendan Hobson still sitting in second place. So he's doing a reasonable job there as well.
Dylan O'Shea in the lane as well.
He's come out back out in fifth. First one to come out of that one. So he's done a 24-second stop. So David Nash, another name we haven't spoken about, up 20 spots from Riot Sim Racing. So he's in a great little battle here, with Nicholas Loveridge in front of him and Paul Burns behind. So Paul, another one of the Bogan Racing boys.
Race leader in the pit lane.
What does Hobbo do? Man in second, he's ducking in too. So next man on track is Blake Delaney. So we might see all of our stops completed here. No, Delaney keeps going. Along with Zach Scare. So Zach doing quite well. He's up 10 spots in fifth at the moment. And Brody Baldwin behind ducks into the pit as well. So a few of these boys definitely doing quite well with some fuel saving, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. James Scott, I noticed, was quite a bit longer in the lane than Dylan O'Shea, and I think Dylan has actually taken the race lead now, so he's opted for track position.
Well, it still hasn't popped up for Delaney, but Dylan O'Shea, if I just go for pit lane time, or pit stop time, sorry. So hasn't put his pit stop time up yet, unfortunately. James Scott either, so we'll have to wait probably to the end of this lap to get that information. Let's have a quick look. Brenton Hobson's come back out in 11th, chasing down Jordan Ross in front of him, and Tom Frere. So those boys have spread out a little bit. Craig Schultz has managed to get himself up into this battle a little bit. Of course, Craig and Zach Skier and Blake Delaney are yet to make their stops. So definitely seeing a bit of a mix-up here with the different strategies, which is quite interesting to see. I know the track surface tonight was on the colder side. We've only got 18 degrees, so it's not a very hot track. Typical English summer day, one might say.
Break out the sunscreen.
And Zach Skiers in pit lane now. So yeah, it's I know with the vets we had a slightly warmer track when we were here last week, and I found tyre wear was pretty critical as well. So it's interesting to see the same for how James Scott was slapping some quality times at the end of his stint. So maybe these guys that have gone a bit longer, it might pay off. as we're on lap 27 now of 62. Might have a quick look at Brady Baldwin from High Octane Sim Sports. He's keeping a lot of pressure on Josh Drage in front of him. They're swarming all over the back of the WK&P car. It's Brady Baldwin.
Yeah, finding this an interesting strategy battle here with Dylan. On my timing, he was only stationary for 9.9 seconds. James Scott was stationary 30.5 seconds. So that's a big difference.
It's huge. Might just see if that information pops up for us this time. We want to go pit lane time, pit stop time we want to have a look at. So O'Shea, yeah, it was 17.3, Scott 30.5, so it's a big difference, as you were saying. Of course, all these boys still to make one more stop. So it'd be interesting to see how much your time differences make. That's a lot of fuel. So I'd probably say Scott's last stop, he wouldn't be putting any fuel in, I'd say.
Yeah, it'd be tyres only, so be looking around a 8 to 9 second stop. So Dylan's next stop obviously is going to be a little bit longer, unless he's been able to roll the clutch in and save a lot of fuel.
And Blake Delaney, our race leader, is into the pit lane. And Sean McNamara letting us know that Blake Delaney is Mr. Fuel Safe. Absolutely. 28 laps is a fair effort around here. And it's Dylan O'Shea now, our race leader, 7 seconds ahead of James Scott. So James having to deal with a little bit of traffic as well. And Chris Ireland's another one that's done quite well, but he had that earlier stop. I think it was around lap 4 or 5. And then we sort of come back down. There's a bit of a battle pack with Craig Schultz. So Craig from 9.5 Sim Sports. He's the man now in the SSR sandwich.
Yeah, Craig's a great guy. I know Craig as well. He's a very good driver. I know he's put a lot of effort into his driving over the past 6 to 12 months, and he's improved out of sight, and he's doing a good job out here.
Well, absolutely. Running with some very good company. Damien Johnstone getting the job done now on him. Unfortunately, bit of a commentator's curse there. We just made him lose a spot.
Craig's a smart racer. He knows when to hold them and when to hold them. Like sometimes, you just got to know when the battle's done, and that's half the thing with sim racing. If you fight till the nth degree, you'll end up making a mistake and losing 10 spots instead of just giving up the one.
Absolutely. We've got a stopped car on track. Let's try and work out who that is. I've missed it there. No, I think they've got going again.
I think it was Josh Drage, it looked like.
Yeah, might just have a quick look at the Supercheap Auto replay, see what happened to Josh. Smokes him up coming out of the Melbourne hairpin. Some slightly second-hand tyres there now.
Yeah, the last two corners on this track really test your patience and skill.
Absolutely, we might just drop into man up 25 spots at the moment, Stephen Varga. hunting down his teammate in front, Christian Smart, and Brady Baldwin behind.
Yeah, Varg's always a fierce competitor and tough racer. Good guy to race with. You know you can go door to door with him and he keeps it clean. So, yeah, good to see Vargs out in the field tonight.
There it is. A former winner of the Vets Championship, as Ash Barella's under a little bit of pressure here, going wide in the Melbourne hairpin. Opening the door up and letting Chasty and Veacock through by the looks. And we've got Matthew Scholes from Riot tucked up behind him as well. This is a great little battle, this one. Veacock using all the curb there.
Great to see Cam Veacock out here racing as well. I know he's had a lot of life commitments over the past 12 months and good to see him back in the sim. Gets some good regular racing in.
It is good to see him back. Very much. Bring up there, have a look when the last time these boys all stopped. So Chris Island in fourth. As I said before, he actually stopped on lap 2. And a few of the other boys have definitely gone usually around the lap 20 to 23. And Kenny Ladder back there in 24th was lap 9. So I feel the guys running some different strategies, trying something different.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great job from Chris Island. He's really kind of thrown the strategy ball out there and, you know, he's done something completely different and you might well see it pay off for him.
Interesting to see. Of course, we're on lap 32 of 62, so just past the halfway mark now. There's still a long way to go in this race tonight.
One of the Riot boys just looping it out of turn 1. Not sure who it was.
It was Matthew Scholes. We might just quickly jump on the Supercheap Auto replay. Just getting a little hot. Definitely one of the great things about Donnington is so much grass that I still reckon after Thursday night I haven't mowed it all.
Yeah, I've certainly seen my fair share of it. Luckily not in the race, I did in practice and yeah, like it's got plenty of runoff which is great, but it's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to be running off track.
Nah, absolutely. So I might just jump back up here. Again, so we've got Brenton Hobson, who's 0.7 behind Tom Freer in front, and Jordan Ross closing up behind him. So these two boys have been having an epic battle all night. And we might just come back through. Zach Skier, one of our late stoppers. He's doing quite well. He's back in the 21st. And our hard charger at the moment, up 25 spots, is David Nash. So David from Riot Sim Sports having a very good drive tonight as well.
Yeah, that's an epic drive, up 25 spots.
Absolutely, under a bit of pressure from Blake Delaney behind and Cameron Jones. So this is probably a good battle to sit on for a minute and have a good look. Of course, the Century Motorsports boys with the striking KFC on the side of the car.
that's one livery you can't miss. You certainly know who the main sponsor is.
Absolutely. So it's a very good looking car. I think it's a bit of a strategy to psych people out and make them think about something else as they go past.
Well, Cam Jones always gives you something to think about when you're racing him. He's always filling your mirrors up, or he's driving off into the distance.
Absolutely. Chris Island now under a bit of pressure now from Brenton Hobson behind. Starting to back up a few of these SSR cars, bringing Damien Johnston back into the battle.
Yeah, well, his tyres are 32 laps old now, so I'm sure he's starting to feel like he's running on a bar or so. Although the tyres, I found the tyres around Donnington do hold up fairly well.
Big move up the inside there. Not quite getting it done. Brenton Hobson now looking for the outside here. And he's peeling off for new tyres, so that solves that battle. Whereas so we might leave the train there, might drop back down the back of the pack and have a look at how a few other boys are getting on. Simon Chadwick after that drive-through. We haven't seen or heard much from him for a little while, so Simon's up back in 39th, but he's having a great little battle here with Bruce Tannick in front of him.
Yeah, I'm sure Simon will be disappointed with that drive-through, but he's a tenacious driver, and I'm sure he'll do everything he can to make up some more spots.
And we want to have a quick look at some of the other new faces we've got tonight. So, of course, Brad Double from Bogan Racing, sitting in 41st. So these boys are having a pretty good outing for their first run in the East Coast Series. And we just had an accident there with Simon Chadwick and Bruce Tannick. We might go back and have a quick look at that replay on the Supercheap Auto replay. Down into the Melbourne hairpin here. A little bit hot by Simon. Are we all going to get going here? Eventually. A few moves going on at the front. Chris Island has come back out after his pit stop, sitting in behind Damien Cairns from Taipan Esports, and Michael Whiting back in the battle with these guys as well. So another one. Oh, very twitchy there by Michael. Another big move by Chris going down into the Melbourne hairpin. Plenty of action in there tonight.
Yeah, it's the one place where you can try and go deep and try and get a move done, but of course, you know, like the driver in front's got to give you enough room to get down the inside on the exit, so no surprises there that you might see a few cars hitting nose to tail.
And Ben Morris is having a good battle with Nicholas Loveridge as well. It's moving forward. Kenny Ladder and Kenny Hayden Harrison down 11 spots from where he's qualified, but still out there, still running in the top 20. Nothing to sneeze at being in the top 20. A little bit loose out of the corner there by Ladder. And Cameron Jones now still under a bit of pressure from Delaney behind. Hanging on to him by about a second. And the other one is Brenton Hobson and Jordan Ross. Still battling, still working on their fuel saving, I think, these boys. We have another incident with Paul Burns. We might just have a quick look at Paul and see what happened to Paul on the Supercheap Auto replay. So another one of the Bogan Racing drivers. A little bit hot coming into the last hairpin there. Plenty of runoff area. That's pretty safe. So just to recap the story, as we just wait and see here as we come down to the Melbourne hairpin. And Jordan Ross getting past Brenton Hobson this time. Damien Johnson still waiting in the wings. We might jump back up. Andrew Dyson's probably the man we're talking about at the moment. He's running around in third. He's up 10 spots. That's a great effort from the simrig.com DPR car. And of course he's under a bit of pressure from Tom Freer behind. And he has James Scott's 13.5 seconds up the road in front of him. James Scott is roughly about 6 seconds now from Dylan O'Shea. Now, bearing in mind that there was a big difference in their fuel strategies. I think it was like 13 seconds difference. So James sat 13 seconds longer in pit lane. So we'll see that unravel when we get to our next stops. And Dylan O'Shea, of course, another one of the Simrig DPR cars. Click on the right one. Our race leader. Doing it quite comfortable at this stage.
Yeah, Dylan looking like he's got a good clean track in front of him, and same with James Scott. So James's last lap time was nearly 6 tenths, 5.5 tenths quicker than Dylan. So I'm sure we're going to see that gap reduce before the next pit stops, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much fuel Dylan has to take on.
Well, you can hear him there quite heavily doing some fuel saving. And we're now going to drive through penalty for 957 with 123. That would have been the incident we saw before with Simon Chadwick. And we might go back and have a look for some more battles. We might go back to James Chastaneuf. Oh, Chasty, a little bit loose. Gets it, Holden's onto it. Keeps control. That's quite good by Chasty. Hang on to that one. Apologise for the spam in the chat, guys. Apparently there's a bot I can get that gets rid of the bot, or a mod I can get that gets rid of the spam. But anyway, got to work that one out still. So we might have a look. There's still other little battles. Alan Dawson from Riot Sim Sports having a cracking drive. Alan up 5 spots for his first outing at the East Coast Series. And the other battle pack at the moment, of course, is Damien Cairns, who's all over the back of Sam Noble. As a few of these cars now on lap 40 are starting to make their second stop.
Yeah, so I think you probably find a lot of drivers just split they've got 2 compulsory stops. They split it 20-20 or 21-21-21 or something to keep the tyres, the car as fresh as possible.
Kenneth Ladder here under a bit of pressure from Hayden Harrison behind. So Hayden Harrison from Senate Sim Sports. Oh, having a look. Not quite. Plenty of looks, as we said earlier. Josh Strage has just been passed by Chris Ireland, so Chris Ireland pulling away from him now. Another battle we've got going still is this Damien Cairns and Sam Noble.
Yeah, I was just watching that battle and Damien having a tough time getting past. Chris, Damien just really kind of getting lots of looks up the inside, but cannot finish the job off, and that's what this track does here. Really kind of frustrates you as a driver.
Oh, hang on, boy. Great drive from Damien not to lose that one. And that opens the door a little bit for Sam Noble to pull away a little bit. Damien having another look here into Melbourne. And gets the job done, I think. Great pass. Some good driving there from Damien. Another experienced boys from the vets. Driving for Taipan Esports. And Adam Briggs is the first man to blink up front. Adam Briggs is in for his stop. Andrew Dyson now starting to come under a little bit of pressure from Tom Freer behind. Veacock and Ladder have also pitted.
Really see the quality of the Synergy Sim racing team. The boys at the front are so close on time, lap times, and there's so many of them in the top 10 of this race. It's such a strong team.
Oh, it is. The old strength in numbers, as they say.
Yeah, but it's not only numbers, they've got quality as well. So.
Oh, yeah. But when you got quality, and you got strength, and you got numbers, it's easy to develop other drivers. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh. Chris Smart there, almost into the back of one of the fishy cars. These boys are racing pretty hard tonight, which is really impressive.
Yeah, the one thing about the V8s on the iRacing platform is there's never any easy racing. Whoever you're racing against, they're going to give it to you.
Mm. And Christian now chasing down Alan Dawson in front. Michael Taliancic just headed off into the pits, I think it was. No? It's probably someone we haven't spoken too much about tonight. Is Michael. So good to see Shoot Sim Racing involved in the series this season. So Michael doing reasonably well. He's sitting in 16th. I think anybody finishing in the top 10 tonight is well deserved. It's been a very tough circuit to race on and some very tight racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Dylan O'Shea's in the pit lane at the moment, so he's kind of falling back through the order, and it'll be interesting to see where he comes out on track.
He's going to sneak himself out just in front of Cameron Jones. And McKnight's in as well. Did have an off track there of Craig Schultz, but he's back on track. And McKnight's back out now. So Dylan O'Shea, after his second stop, has come out in fourth. James Scott now rolling the dice. And he's gone in for his stop as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out. These boys have both been driving by themselves, dealing with traffic. And it's been a battle and a half, I think, to try and match lap times.
Yeah, good tactical move from James to cover Dylan's pit stop straight away, so Dylan didn't get too much of a undercut on him on fresh tyres.
Oh, someone's paused on the way out. That's blocked him a little bit. Run of the right, boys. One of the newer guys into sim racing. A little bit hesitant coming out of pit lane. Has that slowed James down enough, though, to let Dylan get back in front? And the answer is no. It's still a 3.9 second lead here to James Scott from Dylan O'Shea. Brenton Hobson, our race leader, is further 12 seconds down the road. As Warboys Jones and Chastaneuf are now in the pits. James Scott now dealing with a fair bit of traffic as well, which will be making progress a little bit difficult. Of course, a field of 47 cars tonight. 48 cars, sorry, 47. And Zach Skiers just had an incident. We might just go to the Supercheap Auto replay. Just have a look what happened to Zach. Up at Cosp, I think. McLaren, sorry. I know, in the hairpin.
Yeah,
just gets a little bit loose. Yeah, a little bit loose. Manages to not get in everyone's way, so he's done quite all right there. And James Scott now working his way past Michael Whiting. Sorry, Michael Angus, sorry. We might just have a look. We've got a few battles down the back. Dave Kirby in a tight little contest here with Craig Schultz and Kenneth Ladder. And of course, David Nash in front of these guys. As most of the drivers now have made their second stops. The only guys that have not made their second stop, just looking down the list here, is Blake Delaney in third. Of course, was a big fuel saver in the first one. Brenton Hobson comes out in seventh. And the other one going in now is Brady Baldwin and Zach Skier. So most of our drivers in the top 20 have all made their second stop now, so it's now just a straight out battle to the finish. Brenton Hobson with Andrew Dyson right behind him. This will be an epic little battle here, I think.
Yeah, them two boys, old sparring partners from many a different series over the years.
Using all the curbs there. Another great little battle back with Hayden Harrison and Troy Maguire.
Yeah, Troy currently up 13 spots and Hayden down 12 spots. So different race for both them boys. One would be happy, one would be a little bit disappointed, I would say.
Yeah, I reckon they'd be very disappointed with that. And we might just have a look, another pack further back. We've got Kenny Ladder and Dave Kirby battling away. Of course, if you're following along at home, I know the chat's been spammed a bit, but jump in, let us know who you're following. Let us know who you think should be the driver of the round. Help marking myself out. Yeah, get involved. Feel free to help us out.
Yeah, there's been some good drives tonight. No more so than Cameron Jones, who's up 11 spots, sitting in 13th at the moment, and he's done an outstanding job to move through the pack towards the front of the field. The further you go up, the harder and harder it gets to make positions.
It definitely gets harder. This is a quality field we've got tonight. A lot of these boys, top level split in Scops. We've got a field here of at least 5 or 6 drivers that are racing in the Logitech G Pro Series. It's a very quality field, so anyone running around in the top 10 here really should be pretty proud of their performance tonight. And we might just jump back. David Kirby, of course, we're looking at this battle here now. We'll go up to Christian Smart. Christian Smart has Cameron Jones now all over the back of him. As we were just talking about Cameron Jones being one of the drivers that has performed well tonight, up 11 spots. And Cameron Jones well and truly all over the back here. I'm expecting a move to come up very soon.
Christian, another tough competitor, but a good, clean racer, so he won't make it easy for Cameron, and Christian knows how to put the car in the right spot.
Of course, we've got the fuel stops in there. We might go back to intervals. So James Scott, of course, our race leader, is 5 seconds ahead of Dylan O'Shea. He's 10 seconds ahead of Blake Delaney. Blake Delaney's now under a fair bit of pressure from Damien Johnstone. Of course, Blake Delaney still to do his final stop. And then Tom Freer, Jordan Ross, Brenton Hobson, Andrew Dyson from DPR, Adam Briggs, Blake Warboys rounding out the top 10. We might just quickly jump on with Blake. Have a look at how he's going. Still looking as calm as ever. And Damien Johnstone had a slide off track, but I think it might have been wide, I think. So I might just jump back up this battle up here. Jordan Ross now. Definitely under a lot of pressure from Tom Freer behind him. We've got a few battle packs starting to form as we go into our last 10 laps. And Delaney peels off into the pits. And the spam's back.
Yeah, the spam and the chat's been a problem tonight.
Yeah.
For our viewers.
I did just try and delete it and do something with it, but it didn't work. I'll try and fix that one up for next week. And Tom Freer now starting to drop back a little bit. So Jordan definitely having a bit more pace here. We might go back to a couple of other good little tight battles. Dave Kirby's under a fair bit of pressure from Zach Sear. And David Nash, of course, is part of this battle as well. So a nice little three-way fight here.
Yeah, another great battle on track. Looks like Blake Delaney's popped out in 10th position, so that's a good job from him to be able to remain in the top 10.
Absolutely. Doing very well there. And just bear with me, we've just had another technical issue tonight. It's all happening everywhere. We'll see if that solves that one. Apologies for that. That should fix that one back up for us. And we're back. So apologies for that.
Cam Jones and Christian Smart still duking it out for 12th and 13th spot.
Great little battle there. Those boys doing quite well. Cam Jones up 11 spots. One of our hard chargers. David Nash up 14 spots in 22nd. Steve Varga up 15 spots in 29th. Course. Nice little move going on here. So Cameron Jones getting past Christian.
He worked on that move for about 6 or 7 laps, and yeah, he finally got the move done, and yeah, it was a good move in the end, and Christian gave him plenty of room.
Absolutely. We might just have a look now at some of the other packs going on. Cameron Veacock and Jamie McKnight now running in close succession together. And we've got a stopped car on track, which I think is Paul Burns.
I think it was Bruce Tanner, but he's got going again.
Good to see.
So we had this safety car on track on lap 1, and it's been green flag racing ever since, so it's been a good night of racing.
Absolutely, and it's a fair effort from these guys. Of course, we've been... Yeah, Ben, I know. I've got to work out how to mod the chat, mate. Everyone mentioned something about it. I haven't worked out how to do it. Yeah, well, subscriber only. I do apologise for it, Ben. Just trying to do 10 things at once like I usually do when I'm broadcasting. I don't know how David Kirby just being passed by Zach Sear here. Tight battle. I don't know how Luke from Race Stars TV does it all by himself and keep talking. I'm very privileged to have Mark with me again.
Yeah, I think Luke's over 500 broadcasts, so he's got plenty of experience and does a great job. Love having him broadcast events, and yeah, I'm sure we can get a few tips off him on how to get rid of this spam in the chat.
So lap 55 of 62, the story really has been James Scott making a return back to the supercar. He's sitting at the moment 7 seconds down the road from Dylan O'Shea, who I think's had a cracking drive in second place. Sitting comfortably 11 seconds up the road from Damien Johnstone from SSR, probably one of his best drives in a while. He's up 5 spots. Jordan Ross sitting in 4th from SSR, Tom Freer, Brenton Hobson, Andrew Dyson in 7th. Adam Briggs in 8th. Blake Warboys worked his way back up to 9th. Blake Delaney in 10th from Fishy. Another good drive from Blake. Michael Taliancic, he's worked his way up into 11th spot, up 5 spots. That's a great drive from the Pursuit Sim racing driver. Quite well known in the supercar sim world. And then, of course, Cameron Jones up 12 spots, one of our hard chargers. Cameron sitting in 12th, doing really, really well. And then the other battle we've got happening on track at the moment is this one back here. Cam Veacock, who is battling away with Jamie McKnight behind. And a very loose-looking Chris Island in front. So Chris getting a bit loose there into the corner.
Yeah, of course, Chris was one of the earliest stoppers. He stopped on lap 2 and then I think around lap 32. So his tyres will be well and truly feeling like they want to go and have a rest somewhere.
So Jamie McKnight now lining Chris up.
Because while Jamie's trying to line up Chris Island, he's got James Chastaneuf trying to line him up. So you got to be on top of your game here. You cannot afford to make a lunge and then end up with a mistake, and then you end up losing, 1 or 2 or 3 spots.
Absolutely. Definitely the start of a championship too. You don't want to be giving away freebies. And lap traffic in the middle of it as well, just to make it even more difficult.
Yeah, lap traffic doing a pretty good job there to get out of the way and doing the right thing while people are trying.
Of course, Jamie in front of these boys, of course, lining up Chris Island as well. And the other interesting one is Brady Baldwin has worked his way at the back there, I think. So Veacock definitely pulled away a bit here. Chris Island's allowing him to get a gap. And there's McKnight. McKnight's through on Island by the looks. McKnight gets the job done. Island's... Oh. There goes Island onto the grass. Definitely some tough racing in there.
Yeah, I think Chris probably, will probably think back on that. Think, like I probably should have given up that one.
Absolutely. Never easy. And something happened to Veacock there. Veacock must have had a slide off. He has actually. We might just go back and have a look what happened to Cam. So just a quick look on the Supercheap Auto replay. Veacock's clipped the slower car in front of him, I think. Or he's clipped James Chastaneuf. So Veacock's thrown it away. With a slight little rub on James Chastaneuf. So that one I didn't see coming.
I can hear Cam on the radio. He's not happy about it.
Yeah, I got it back, Pete. We had a slight technical issue called OneDrive that I paused, and for some reason it decided to start up again. And I've probably got to get in the habit of just not running it at all. So I apologise for the slight technical difficulties we had a little bit before for the broadcast.
3 laps to go. We've got James Scott out front with a healthy lead of just over 9 seconds ahead of Dylan O'Shea. Damien Johnson doing a great drive in P3. He's up 5 spots at the moment. And then we've got Jordan Ross in 4th and Brenton Hobson in 5th place.
It's been a sensational start to the Season 3 here of the Supercheap Auto East Coast Series. You've got to be very happy with James Scott, dominated drive. Dylan O'Shea showing some great speed. Damien Johnston being the lead car of the SSR team, which is an impressive drive. We've seen Damien come in and out of the series numerous times and perform well, and it's just great to see him jump straight back in and go bang.
Yeah, absolutely. Damien was on the podium 2 or 3 times towards the end of last season, and he's doing a great job tonight.
Chris Island and Cam Veacock, I think. No, I'll get that right. It is Cam Veacock, James Chastaneuf and Simon Chadwick. So Simon Chadwick being the lapped car that was going on there. And we might just go back. Josh Strage back in 32nd. He's under a fair bit of pressure here, or he's putting a fair bit of pressure on Michael Angus. So there's still battles everywhere going on. Another one we've got is Dave Nash. He's battling away. He's up 15 spots. So our hard charger at the moment. Great drive up into the 21st from Riot Sim Sports. Sorry, Riot Sim Racing. So that'll be pretty happy with that drive with his first race in the series.
Absolutely, that's a great drive. David Nash, 15 spots. Yeah, like Barger, 14 spots. Cam Jones, 12 spots.
We've just had an incident at the hairpin with Hayden Harrison and Ash Burrell. We might just go to the Supercheap Auto replay and have a bit of a look at that. I'm not sure what's happened. And I'm on the wrong car, am I? Hayden, I think Ash might have been a bit loose. Hayden's just hit him. I'll leave that one up to race control.
Hayden coming out with a fair bit of damage from that one.
As we get the white flag. And James Scott, the man who holds the official V8 Supercar iRacing lap record here. I think they call them world records being Americans. He has dominated this race pretty well much from pole to finish. Been a great drive. Different fuel strategy to Dylan O'Shea. It was interesting to see how that would play out. The longer fuel stop on stop one has worked okay for him. And James has done really well for what I believe is his first outing for Synergy Sim Racing here today in the Supercheap Auto East Coast Series. And a big congratulations has to go out to our race winner, Mr. James Scott. And
dominant victory there from James.
Absolutely. And coming home in second from Sim Racing, simrig.com DPR, Dylan O'Shea. Great drive from Dylan. And the man with the SSR honours coming home is Damien Johnstone. Great drive from Damien. Brings it home from the boss, Jordan Ross. And Hobbo brings it back up into fifth. Sixth will be Tom Freer. Seventh will be Andrew Dyson. Eighth is going to be Adam Briggs. Ninth will be Blake Warboys. And Blake Delaney will round out our top 10 with Michael Taliantrance, Cameron Jones, Christian Smart, McKnight, Chastanoof, Veacock, Island. I think Chasty might have just got, not sure there. That's interesting. I think I might have called that too early. These boys are still racing. A little bit ahead of myself. And it looks like McKnight's going to just sneak it home in front of Chasty. Great little steal there. So Veacock will end up in 16th. Chris Ireland, Brady Baldwin, Hayden Harrison's in the pits. David Nash in 20th. So these boys have had an epic drive tonight. Who's your pick for drive of the day, Mark?
Yeah, interesting one. For me, I'm going to go with Cameron Jones because I feel like he's passed a lot of cars at the front of the field. He's up 12 spots, and I think, for me personally, I think the further you're up the field, the harder it is to make spots, and 12 spots to get to into 12th place, for me, it's a drive of the day. I mean, hard to go past other drivers like Stephen Barger up 15, but for me, Cameron's done a great job to almost get into the top 10.
Absolutely, I think it's a fantastic drive, and we might just take a very quick second here, or 30 seconds to be honest, while we just wait for the drivers to come into the green room, and we might just run a quick ad, and then we'll come back to our chat.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, and that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
And welcome back. We might grab Damien Johnston, our third place man, and we'll have a chat to Damien. We'll bring him in. Damien, congratulations on P3, mate. That's a great battle to be the leader of SSR.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Sorry, I just mixed that. I've been putting a lot of work in the last 2 weeks, so it's good to have pace and beat those kind of boys. So
yeah, we were commenting that it looks like you've been working pretty hard. What was the trick, mate? And was it the saving tyres, saving fuel? No, was there any key to your strategy that was a bit different to the other guys?
my one was I seen the guys pitted early, so I sort of knew I was on the back foot, so I filled the car right up in that first one. So I wasn't sure, but I had the pace to sort of get back to where they were. So when we pitted, I jumped them all. So the only one that probably would have been a factor was Briggsy. Unfortunate for him tonight, but yeah, I was pretty happy to finish where I was tonight.
No, it was an epic drive, mate. I'd be pretty happy with that. Is anyone you want to give a shout out to?
All the boys for the setups are just they're mega now. So bit of input from James Scott as well now. So the team's just moving forward, as you can see in each race that we do in each series now. So
That's awesome. We might drag up our second place getter, Dylan O'Shea. And Dylan, congratulations on P2, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. That was a interesting race.
Absolutely. And I've just been corrected for something I just said. You're right, Luke. I got that one wrong. I'm not used to James thinking like that. No, that was a good drive, mate. The different fuel strategy to James, which made it very interesting. Did you think you were going to come out okay with that one?
Yeah, I decided to have a dip, but because just thought I might have a bit of pace on him. I had to do something because he was pulling away at that first stint. So I'm like, if I just short fill it and see what I can do in that middle stint. But unfortunately, he got me there, and yeah, I wasn't able to pull that gap back.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, Dylan?
Oh yeah, just simrigs.com. Team sponsor simrigs.com. South Wales and host. MP designed, and yeah, that was to you guys for doing the broadcast, and East Coast V8 Series putting it on.
No worries, thanks, Dylan. We'll bring in our race winner, Mr. James Scott. James, congratulations on P1, mate. Welcome back to the East Coast Series. Hello, James. Oh, I think we might have lost him. Okay. We'll jump back to you, Damien. Is there anyone you want to give a send out to, mate?
Yeah, so a couple of our sponsors, Wave Runner, JK Signs, Mr. Dr. Epoxy, Ferris Shifters, and all the boys at Synergy, you guys for staying on for season 3, and the new admin team. So look forward to getting this one into the next round.
Yeah, next round's going to be a cracker, that one. Are you back with us, James? Don't know what, I've just lost him there. No, he's gone to the green room. Something drag him back in. James, are you with us?
Yeah, mate.
That's better. A little bit of technical difficulties there. Congratulations, mate. Welcome back to East Coast, and what a way to come back with a lovely victory like that.
Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed this track. But yeah, that was a good race. Obviously plenty of strategy playing out there with Dylan opting for the shorter fill in the first stop there. So as soon as I saw him do that, I was like, if I can just do the opposite, won't have to fight him, as long as I can stay out of traffic and either keep the gap about the same or bring it in a bit, then we should be a good spot. So I'm lucky the car was good, and we closed the gap a little bit in that middle stint, and that made the last stint pretty simple.
Yeah, it looked like it was fairly easy. How'd you go? Like you said, traffic was an issue. They were all fairly good out there.
Yeah, on the whole, I think everyone did a pretty decent job. There was a few close calls, but that was mainly just, especially at the hairpin. Obviously, it's such a good passing spot. There was a few times where I had to sort of go off the racing line a fair bit to avoid a crash. But on the whole, being a track like this, pretty short, 50 cars or whatever it was, all on the track together, it's gonna be it's always gonna be tough. But no, on the whole, I think it was not too bad.
And new series, new team, settling in well.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, there's no better way to settle in than a win. But yeah, no, everyone at the team's good. Obviously, they've been fast all year in some other series, so it's pretty seamless transition. It's like they had to rework the car or anything. It was already good, and yeah, I was just lucky enough to drive it.
That's good. And I'll start with you. I'll ask this question to all three or two because Dylan's gone, or to both yourself and Damien. Next week, Winton, Super Sprints. Thoughts?
I haven't done many laps, so it's going to be interesting, and haven't really got a set there either, so we'll just have to dig deep and try and be at the front.
Is that a hint to James then?
Yeah, so hopefully James can come up with something, and we're off.
And James, is there anyone, I think I might have already asked him, and you want to give a shout out to? I think Damien's ticked off most of the team sponsors, so.
Yeah, I won't recover what he's already gone through. Obviously, there's a great sponsors there with Wave Runner Performance, Smith and Sons, and all the other guys. And obviously, thanks to all the guys at the team, doing all the hard work. And yeah, we'll see what we can do at Winton. I think I've done about 2 laps there ever, so don't have a setup. Don't really even know where to brake, to be honest. But we'll see what we can come up with.
Good luck. I think it's going to be a cracking event. The last Super Sprint races we did at Road Atlanta were some pretty epic racing and very hard and fast. And I think Winton's going to be another track a little bit like Donnington, where these boys are going to struggle to overtake. So it's going to be very interesting to see if people can keep their cool.
Yeah, that's it. I think limited passing spots at both those tracks. So qualifying will be important, but obviously you need to be able to hold on to your rears as well.
Absolutely. And any last words from you, Mark?
Nah, just well done to the boys, James. Big effort back to V8 racing. Damien coming back to where he finished off last season. Winton's going to be very interesting with grid sizes and how they're going to go with being able to move up the grid. So qualifying's going to be everything at Winton. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And we might take the opportunity again to thank Supercheap Auto, Barella Cabinets, and of course the pool guys for their complete pool care for supporting the series. Big thank you to all of our race control guys, particularly as we probably didn't really cover too much in tonight. We're actually running 2 splits, so there is actually a second split running with all of our drivers, and we've had a new team of guys drop in to do race control there with Dave Galley and Matt McMillan and Mark Dial. And of course, Seb back again, as we said before, with Dave Worrell and Richie Barilla in split 1. So big thank you to those guys, and big thank you to Ash and Josh for picking the series up and running with it as Ben takes a step back, looking towards his wedding coming up. And yeah, big shout out to everyone who's been on YouTube. We've had quite a few on there watching tonight. Big thank you to you all for supporting us, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And I promise you I'll try and work out what the hell this mod is, or it'll be subscriber only chat next week, because we hopefully won't get so much spam. So it's a big good night from me, and big thank you to you, Mark, as well, for dropping in and
No worries, John. Pleasure to be here. Great racing. And I'll just remind everyone, Cam Jones did get driver of the day, but he has got COVID, so he's not really up for chatting too much at the moment. So, well, a good drive tonight, Cam, and look forward to seeing you on track at Winton Raceway.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to that and hope you feel better soon, Cam. Yep, I'll say good night from us, and we'll see you all same time next week for the Winton Super Sprints.
Thanks,
There's no
everybody.
arguing that people love their cars.
We won't argue.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, and that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.